Hello everyone, welcome back to my Agrabah toy box. I'm Professor Toybox, and once again I've got Aladdin with me, and today we're going to continue building some of the locations from the early part of the Aladdin movie, where the guards chase Aladdin through the city streets after he steals a loaf of bread. At the end of that sequence, he ends up out on the main road, where Prince Ahmed is riding into town. Last time I built several of the locations from that chase. I started with this construction area, and from here we moved over to the next city street over, because he ducks through the building, and he comes out over here, and this street is packed with sheep, and he hops over the sheep and ends up in this doorway where the guards surround him, and then he ducks the guards and heads down this narrow street here and emerges in a small bazaar. And so this is where we left off last time, and we'll pick up here. Here's some screenshots from the Aladdin movie of this area. It's an intersection of two streets, which are lined with market stalls. There's a stairway in the lower left corner that leads up the side of the building to a window where Aladdin and Abu duck into. Okay, and so as we begin here, we're going to start with another one of these square Agrabah citadels. And we're going to start right over here on this corner. And I'm going to set this block here like this. And then we're going to drop another one down right here. And there's a stairway that leads up in front of this building. In the movie, this building looks more roundish, and the stairway looks like it goes up around the building. But I've got a problem here as I've been building this. These buildings here are too tall. This is the way they were in the movie. But unfortunately, there's no room here for a staircase to spiral around this building and see clear sky up above. And so I'm going to kind of ignore that little detail, and we'll just continue building this as is, and just have to hope for the best. Hope the player doesn't catch on, but most of the time the player is me anyway, so that's all right. And underneath this stairway we're going to need a couple of blocks to fill that gap, so I'll put a couple of these under here, and then we'll cover up that seam with a market stall. And actually, I think the fruit stall makes a better match here to what was in the movie. And then there was another street off over this way, so I'm going to add an archway for spacing. And we'll use this larger arch. And for right now, I'm just going to drop this here. I'll put down another one of these buildings. Hey, that was the perfect spacing. Cool. Just like that. And then we'll put another building over here, like this. And so you can see it's starting to kind of take shape to what we saw in the movie. So I like that. Now this side of the street here, I'm going to take this little block and we're going to move this, and I'm going to put 3 of these along here like this. And that creates an indentation where we can put some market stalls along here, because we saw in the movie that's what was there in the foreground. And before we do that, though, let's fill in this side of the street. So I'm going to put 3 of these buildings in here. And a couple of these to fill that in. And then one more building out over this way. And we'll put this with the empty side facing out. And another one over here with the door like that. About 1 block apart. Should be wide enough for a staircase in here, and it is. Okay, that's starting to take shape. That's looking good. Let's go ahead and put a few more of these market stalls in here. So in the movie, we saw some other stands down on this side of the street. So I'm going to put one in the corner. We're going to put one right here. And then over on this side, I'll put another empty stall, followed by the canopy and a fruit stand. And then we need something along that wall. And for that, we'll come down to the plants drawer. And we're going to use this Fantasy Terrain 1. I'm going to drop this right up against the building like that. And we'll come into the customization menu, and I'll style it to be this Peddler's Marketplace stall. And I'll set that to be my theme, because I'm going to drop a couple of these down. We'll put another one over here along this wall, like that. And then we also have this Fantasy Terrain 5. I'm going to put this right here. And we're going to style this one to be the pots. And I'm going to move this piece because I had this set up before with that large pot sitting like that, I believe. Yeah. And then over on this end, we'll put another one of those right here. And I'm going to turn this building around because that blocks the door. It was actually the other side of the building that I had there. Okay, and a couple more little details and this area will be done. So over here we had a window, and I'm going to scroll over to pick up the balcony here. That's about the closest we have. I'm going to put this right here, which will also cover up that door nicely that's floating up there. And then I'm going to put another one of these over here to cover up this door, like that. And that looks pretty good. That looks a lot like what we saw in the movie with the market stalls down below. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, after Aladdin and Abu flee through the window, Aladdin runs through the room, scoops up a carpet, and jumps out the window, followed by the guards who don't bother to look before they leap. The guards fall into a manure pile below, while Aladdin parachutes safely to the other side of a wall, and there he meets a couple of hungry children and shares his bread before he hears something out on the main road and goes to investigate. And so for the next part of this, we're going to swing around to the back side here, and we'll go ahead and pick up this building and drop it. And I'm going to put another one of these right here. And then we'll drop this one, and I want the empty side of the building on that side. And coming down to the plants drawer, you'll find the manure pile as part of Fantasy Terrain Corner 1. And we'll drop this right there. Come into the customization menu and style it. And there we go. And so Aladdin and Abu duck into a window on this side of the building, and they come out on this little window up here, and the guards fall into the manure pile, and then Aladdin floats over that direction. So before we can get over there, though, we need to put in a few more building pieces here to kind of close the gap a little bit. And I'm going to add an archway up here. And we'll use this big one, which should fit perfectly right in this space. And I'm going to drop this right here, I believe. Let me just grab my screenshot here. Yep, that's the one. So we'll drop that there. And then over on this side, it looked like he was parachuting over a wall. That was my first guess, but there's nothing to say that those weren't actually buildings. And so I'm going to assume they were buildings and put these over here. Like that. And so Aladdin would basically parachute out this window over top of this wall slash building and end up down here in this little area. And we have a door here, just like we saw in the movie. And the orphan kids would have been standing here. Abu and Aladdin would have been sitting over here. And he heard something out on the street, and he comes out this way to investigate. And here we are on the main road leading up to the palace, where Prince Ahmed is riding by. So I like that. There's one little discrepancy here, though, in my toy box, and I did this on purpose. This archway in that picture with Prince Ahmed riding into town is actually further down. Aladdin comes out a door somewhere down this way. And with the building pieces I had, it just didn't try to make sense to force that, since we already had this big archway here, and the kids were in this area, and Aladdin would have come out this way, and we had the big archway in that picture. I shifted the scene over a little bit and had Aladdin come out here on my toy box. And that's not quite accurate, but I think that's close enough. Now before we wrap this up, we need to add just a couple more little details. We've got this door floating over here, so we should add a platform that kind of explains that door being up there. So I'm going to put this little platform right there, and there's another one over on this side, so I'm going to put this here. And then I believe we've got this empty spot here with that door sitting up there, so I'm going to put another balcony up here like that, and that'll cover up the seam on that building as well as that door. So I think that'll work good. And then we can put a little ledge up over here to kind of explain those doors hanging up there in space. And this side of the street over here is a little low, so I'm going to put a couple of buildings right here on the edge of this. And we'll figure out how we get up there next time, how the residents would get there. But there we go. There's the bazaar. And then here would be the fertilizer place that the guards fall into. And so I think this worked out pretty good. I like this. So yeah, this is nice. So that's my reconstruction of some of the places that the guards chased Aladdin through at the start of the animated movie. Next time we'll fill in some of the gaps at this end of the city before moving on to the marketplace on the other side of the road. Meanwhile, I want to thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed my build video today. If so, please give it a like and leave a comment. I'd love to hear what you think. And don't forget to sign up on my blog or subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done that, so you don't miss my next video. That's all for me today, so I'll be signing off now. Take care.